Okay, so just checking through this question because I noticed a mistake for you. So everything you've done is fine. So 1 over f of x 5 minus 2x is 2. This is all good. It's just that this point is fine. So all of this is all good. It's here. So this is actually a positive 5 and it's a minus 2x. So when I want to eliminate the positive 5, I have to subtract 5, okay, which does indeed leave the minus 2x, but this should be a subtract 5, not a plus 5, okay, which would change this solution. So you then have a half, so that would be minus 4.5 or minus 9 over 2, okay, and then you would divide by minus 2 here like you did before, so minus 9 over 2 divided by minus 2 would actually be a positive 9, not a negative 11. Okay? So just a point to note there. So we've got find and simplify f of x. So at this stage you've not actually been given a value for so you've got your value for x, you've used it, but I would be saying find f of x, not f of 9 or 11, which is what you used. So what I would have been doing here, we would have to have done, it's 5 minus 2x, and then that would become the x, and it would be 5 minus 2x in this case. So then we'd have 5 minus 10 plus 4x, so that's minus 5 plus 4x. So that's how I read that, find f of x, rather than put the number in. Okay? But if you have put your number in, what you did looks fine. The inverse function, that's what this is. This is an inverse function. So if we know f of x is 5 minus 2x, probably the best way to think of it is, if that is y is 5 minus 2x, the best way to find the inverse is, first of all, swap the x and the y. So we would just write x is 5 minus 2y. Now rearrange that to make y the subject again. So I'm going to add the two y's. So I've got x plus 2y is 5. I'm going to minus the x. So I've got 2y is 5 minus x. And then I'm going to divide everything by 2. So I've got 1y is 5 minus x all over 2, and that would be the inverse function. So f to the minus 1 of x would now be 5 minus x all over 2. Okay, so this one, gx, is a function with its inverse, gx. Now the inverse, basically, if I start with x and I apply a function of x, or in this case it's a g of x, I get a value y out. Now that means that y goes in. If I apply the inverse function, I get the x out. So what they're saying is, if I want to do the inverse first to 3, we are basically saying that we want to put 3 in here, put that in, and that will give me the x, but then I want to go back the other way and do the function of that, so then that x goes in and goes through, and what will it come out as? Well, it will come out as the 3. So it's kind of a trick question, and that the answer will be just 3. Okay, so if you apply the inverse and its function, or the function and its inverse, you will get the same answer. So for instance, if I do f of f to the minus 1 of 2, I get 2. If I do h to the minus 1 of h of 7, I get 7, and so on. Okay. Right. Your logarithms one. So with logarithms, we've got the rules that says if we have log to the base a of x, right, to the power of b, that can be written as b log to the power of log to the base a of x. Okay. We've also got that if we've got log to the base a of x and we've got minus log to the base a of y, that is the same as log to the base a of x divided by y. And if we've got log to the base a of x plus log to the base a of y, then we have log to the base a of x times y. So we're using all of those on this one. So, and then finally we've got to deal with that. I'll come back to that in a sec. So what I'm going to do to start with is rewrite these two, the last two terms, using this rule, the first one I mentioned. So this will become log to the base 4 of 3 squared minus log to the base 4 of 5 cubed. Still got my 1 plus. Okay. Then I've got to subtract. So this bit now I use the second rule that I was talking about, this one. So that will give me log to the base 4 of, well, 3 squared is 9, and 5 cubed is 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So I've got 9 over 125. Okay. So, still not quite finished because I've got to do something with this 1. Now, 1 can be written in terms of logarithms as log to the base anything of itself. So what we want is log to the base 4, because that's what we've got here, and it's log to the base 4 of 4. Okay? So that's how we replace a 1. So now I've got log to the base 4 of 4 plus log to the base 4 of 9 divided by 125. So that then we use the final rule, which is the multiply. So then we've got log to the base 4 of 4 times 9 over 125. So that is log to the base 4 of 36 over 125, which you can try and simplify, but that's basically it. You can simplify the fraction if possible. Okay, let me know if you have any questions over those.